It's Super Bowl week, and we are getting a Super Bowl rematch from 4 years ago between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes and Andy Reid are going for their third Super Bowl. This is going to be their fourth appearance in the Big Dance. There's a lot of new faces on the San Francisco side, namely Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, but a lot of veteran pieces like Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and Kyle Shanahan making his second Super Bowl appearance. There's a lot of storylines coming into this, with namely the Chiefs dynasty. If they win this, they are cementing themselves as a dynasty in the NFL and could be the first team to repeat as back-to-back champs for the first time since the 03-04 Patriots about 20 years ago. The 49ers may have the better team from top to bottom, but when it comes to two of the most important positions in football, head coach and quarterback, this is where the Chiefs have an edge and probably a pretty big lead. And no disrespect to Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, it's just that Mahomes has been the best quarterback since arriving on the scene 4 or 5 years ago. Andy Reid is the best head coach, and in the modern era, offense wins and wins a lot. And when you have the better quarterback, especially in these big games, you find ways to win no matter how good the opposing side is, especially on the defensive end. Kyle Shanahan is trying to break through. He hasn't won a championship since becoming a coach, even an OC. He's blown leads, getting away from the running game, and that is something that he will have to do to not only win, but also cement himself as a head coach. The last time these two teams played, they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, fresh off an interception from Patrick Mahomes, but that defense gave away to 21 straight points, and the Chiefs walked away with their first Super Bowl in this window. And 4 years ago, this defense isn't the same as what it is today. They have lost numerous pieces in that talented defensive line. Now, I do think as a unit, they may be a little bit better, but individually, especially under that defensive line, they have some holes. The secondaries looked a little bit better than maybe the 2019 edition. The linebacking core is virtually the same, but the defense in this Super Bowl run, especially in this postseason, hasn't looked the same as it did in the regular season. They would generate turnovers, they would blow out opponents, get to the quarterback, but they're getting gashed. A lot of teams have been able to run up and down the field. We saw that with Aaron Jones with the Green Bay Packers, and then Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery of the Detroit Lions. The Chiefs don't have any spectacular running backs, but Isaiah Pacheco always runs really hard, and the change of pace with Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be able to help establish the run and allow Andy Reid to mix up the play calling so not to be so Patrick Mahomes dependent in this Super Bowl matchup. The Chiefs offense, we've known that their wide receiving room especially has been one of the weakest units in the league, but they have found their form in this postseason after a year of leading the league in drops. MVS, Rashid Rice, for example, have picked up the slack, especially MVS being a guy that got trolled countless times with that drop against the Philadelphia Eagles. He has come up with 2-3 big catches in this postseason run. Rashid Rice has ascended to the number one receiver spot, and just to take some pressure off of Travis Kelce. We know that he will kill zone defenses and he will be the safety blanket for Mahomes. But whenever he may be covered, Mahomes will have to find someone else to get the ball to. And I think both of those guys I just named in the receiving room should be able to help with that problem. Now, I think compared to the last matchup with Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy is absolutely the better quarterback in this edition of the 49ers. And at running back, they had more of a committee led by Raheem Mostert. Now, they've taken him out and put in Christian McCaffrey, who's been their bell cow and just been such a phenomenal back, what he can do outside the tackles, between the tackles, and catching the ball out of the backfield. Just another toy in this Kyle Shanahan offense. But an improved Debo and more experienced Debo plus Brandon Ayuk with George Kittle, this offense is lethal. Coach Spags has been one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL with not only just containing mobile quarterbacks, but also finding ways to stop teams that do well with motion. In two matchups against the Miami Dolphins, who came off the Kyle Shanahan tree, that defense basically shut down the Miami Dolphin offense, who relies on motion and a ton of speed. Those concepts are again very similar since Mike McDaniel is off the Kyle Shanahan tree. Now there's similar personnel with the offense that San Francisco runs, but I think it's a more improved version of what we've seen in Miami. They still have Chris Jones, the standout first team All-Pro defensive tackle, plus George Karlaftis, who has been improving as an edge rusher. Their secondary, L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, are no slouches at all in the cornerback position, and their linebacking core is solid. With the tutelage of Steve Spagnuolo, I do think the Kansas City Chiefs have a defense that can just bend but not entirely break, because they faced a couple of good offenses, the Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, and stymied them for much of the postseason. Deebo Samuel, while he's been great in the regular season, he is banged up, and that shoulder injury will be something to monitor in the Super Bowl. Now, with the extra week, I'm sure he is going to suit up. It's just a matter of, again, how effective and how much can he be used. He will probably give it up all on the line, that is true, but how effective will he be? How much can he take after getting pounded, punched, hit across the middle? Whenever he's taking the ball, whether it's a handoff, a screen, a slant, he's going to get hit. And can he get up from those hits? The 49ers have been the best team in the NFC, and despite them having the easier road, they have struggled because they've had to come back from deficit after deficit, and some of that you can attribute to mistakes, play calling, some mistakes from Brock Purdy, but he's atoned for that on the back end, leading the 49ers to comeback victories. Against Mahomes and the Chiefs, you will have to bury them, because like the Bucks did in 2020, that was the time where Mahomes just could not wriggle himself free and rally the Chiefs. This is going to be a very tight affair. I know the points right now is about 1.5 2. It basically means it's a coin flip. The 49ers, like I said, have the better team from top to bottom. The question is, can Brock Purdy rally them from another deficit? My thing is, I feel that the Chiefs will be right there with them. The 49ers will have at least a one possession lead heading into the fourth quarter, but can they ice it? And that's where I think either a mistake from earlier or during the fourth quarter will come back to bite them, and Mahomes and the Chiefs will rally and take advantage, and they will cement their dynasty and go back-to-back champions, like I said, for the first time in nearly 20 years. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs. They just have the better head coach, the better quarterback. I picked against Mahomes too many times, and if they lose, they lost to a superior overall team. But if he does that, I feel that Mahomes and the Chiefs have what it takes. They've been there, they've done that, they've traveled on the road. They can get this done, and they will be champions of Super Bowl 58.